Hello, Middle 3. Now, today we will start, inshallah, Unit 4, which is called Reproduction and Species Continuity. What's meant by the word reproduction? Reproduction is producing new individual. Okay? What's the importance of reproduction? Why it is important? To keep the living organism from extinction. Okay? To ensure the interaction of the living organism with the environment. To protect the living organism from extinction. This is the importance of reproduction. To keep the species continuity or the species continuity. We will start today lesson 1, which is called cell division. What's cell division? Cell division is the way by which reproduction takes place. Cell division is the way by which reproduction takes place. Okay, so today, inshallah, in this lesson, we will talk in details about cell division, and we will know everything about types of cells in the body of the multicellular living organism, and also the types of division. We have 2 types of division. We will study them both, okay, in details. And we will study also the things that help in cell division, or the main points that help in cell division. Okay, now let's start the lesson, cell division. We are called multicellular organisms. Some plants are called multicellular organisms. Animals also. Multicellular organisms, these are organisms that have more than one cell, okay? A number of cells, not unicellular that have only one cell. No, multicellular is that have more than one cell. In the multicellular organisms, they have 2 types of cells. The first one called somatic cells, the second one called reproductive cells. What's the difference between somatic cells and reproductive cells? Somatic cells is the cells that's present in all the body cells, except the reproductive. What's all body cells? Brain cells, liver cells, kidney cells, skin cells, all the cells. Okay, all the cells in your body are called somatic. Only reproductive cells are different. What's the reproductive cells? They are the cells that's present in the gonads. What's the gonads? The testes and ovaries in humans and animals. Also the anther and ovary in flowering plants. Reproductive cells, these are the cells which are present in the reproductive organs. What's the reproductive organs? They are the gonads. Okay? The male reproductive organ is the testis in humans and animals, and the anther in the plants. While the female reproductive organ, or gonad of the female, is the ovary in human, animals, and plants. Okay? Let's talk in details more about the cell division. Okay, the cell have nucleus, as we studied before in junior, and in junior, yes, you took it before in junior, that the cell have nucleus. Okay, this nucleus is the responsible for the cell division. It's the main place that's responsible for the cell division. Why? Because it contains the genetic material of the living organism. It contains the genetic material. What's the genetic material? The genetic material is the genes, which describe how I look, okay? It describes the color of my eye, the size of my eye, the shape of my face. Everything about me is in my genes, okay? In my genetic material. It contains the genetic material of the living organism, which consists of a number of chromosomes. يعني genetic material consists of a number of chromosomes, which have the main role in cell division. What's بقى chromosomes? Chromosomes, they are thread-like bodies present in cells nuclei. Okay, they are thread-like bodies present in the cell nuclei. They represent the genetic material of the living organism, and that we knew now since I was talking about the nucleus, okay? They are thread-like bodies present in the cell's nuclei, and they represent the genetic material of the living organism. What's the structure of the chromosome? It consists of 2 connected threads. As you see, each thread is called chromatid. 2 threads connected together, each one is called chromatid. The two chromatids are connected together at a point known as centromere. See the point in the middle? This one is called centromere. يبقى the two chromatids are connected at a point called centromere. طيب, what's the centromere? It's the point of connection of the two chromatids of chromosome during the cell division. طيب, this is the general structure of the chromosome. طيب, what about the chemical structure of the chromosome? Each chromosome أو each chromatid بقى in the chromosome consists of the following: nucleic acid أو DNA and protein. طيب, what's the DNA? The DNA is the deoxyribonucleic acid, a type of sugar called ribose carrying adenine أو carrying a nucleic acid يعني in it. Okay. طيب, it's called deoxyribonucleic acid. This is the DNA. طيب, what's the DNA? The DNA is the part that carries the genes, which carries the genetic traits of the living organism, and protein. Okay, these proteins are called histones. Like as you see this balls of proteins, okay, they are called histones, and this is the DNA double helix. Like, what happens? The DNA double helix coils on the proteins to shortens its length because it's very, very long. To shortens its length, okay, to get it inside the nucleus, to let it get inside the nucleus. So DNA is the nucleic acid that forms the chromosomes that's present in the cell nucleus, and it contains the genes. As you see here, yes, DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, okay, ribose sugar carrying a nucleotide base pair in it. You will study it inshallah next term in details, okay. طيب, then the nucleic acid is coiled on a histone protein, okay. This is called nucleosome, this part, okay. Then they are coiled more and more to shorten the length until they can get inside the nucleus. طيب, what's the number of chromosomes? The number of chromosomes is fixed in the same species while different from one species to another. Type, what's meant by this? It means that, for example, in the human being, we have 46 chromosomes out 23 pairs of chromosomes, okay? 46 chromosomes out 23 pairs. Type, all the human beings in the world have 46 chromosomes, while cats don't have the same. Dogs don't have the same number. They have different numbers. So it's fixed in the same species while different from one species to another. طيب, somatic cells contains two sets of the chromosomes. One is inherited from the father, the other is inherited from the mother. يعني each somatic cell, brain cell, skin cell, liver cell, kidney cell have two sets of chromosomes. يعني 23 و 23 يعني have two pairs. Okay? Have one pair of chromosome يعني اللي هي two sets يعني 23 و 23. Okay? يبقى it have 46 chromosomes, the somatic cells. So we call this as diploid number of chromosomes اللي هي 2n. While بقى الgametes have haploid number of chromosomes. طيب, what's the gametes? The gametes are the cells which are produced from the reproductive cells. Okay, the reproductive cells undergoes division, a certain type of cell division, giving gametes. These gametes have haploid number of chromosomes. يعني doesn't have all 46 chromosomes, it have only 23. Okay, يبقى somatic cells contain 46 while gametes contain 23. The number of chromosomes identify the animal or plant species. This is very important. طيب, what's the gametes? The gametes are sperms in the male and ova in the female. Okay, this is very important. You have to know the names. The sperms in the male while the ova in the female. طيب, what's the types of cell division which occur in our body? We have two types of cells, mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis or mitotic cell division and meiosis or meiotic cell division. طيب, mitosis is also called indirect cell division, while meiosis is called reduction division. طيب, we will study both of them in details, but let's return to the types of cells in the body, which we said that we have somatic cells and reproductive cells. طيب, in somatic cells, all the somatic cells divides by mitosis or mitotic division. Okay, all the somatic cells divides by mitosis, while only reproductive cells divides by meiosis. Okay, this is very important. Reproductive cells divides by meiosis to give gametes, while somatic cells divides by mitosis to give same copy as itself. يعني if it's a brain cell, it will give a brain cell. If it's a liver cell, it will give a liver cell. Kidney cell, it will give a kidney cell, and so on. Okay, now let's return back to the types of cell division. We will talk first about mitosis. Okay, mitosis occurs in somatic cells, as I said, all the body cells except red blood cells, of course, reproductive, and in neural cells. All the body cells have mitosis, or mitosis occur in them, except red blood cells, they don't divide, and in neural cells. And of course, reproductive, it divides by meiosis. Cells of fruit, stem, seeds, and leaf, everything. It plays an important role in growth of the living organism, compensation of the damaged cells, completing the asexual reproduction process. Mitosis is very important in the growth of the living organism. When you are a baby, how did you grow up into an adult? How did your skin grows, how your leg grows, your arm grows, everything grows in you? Yes, it grows by the division of the cells, by mitotic division. Okay? Compensation of the damaged cells. When some of the cells are damaged, and you have an injury, for example, how the skin close again, and there's nothing, you can't see the injury anymore? Yes, it's by the cell division. The cell division, this mitosis cell division, it occurs, so new cells of skin are produced, so there is no injury. Number 3, completing the asexual reproduction process. And this we will study it inshallah in lesson 2 in details. Let's talk in details about mitosis. Before starting mitosis, the cell passes through a phase called interphase. During the interphase, the cell prepares division through important biological process. What's this biological process? We will know now. Before the mitosis start, cell goes through a phase called interphase. This interphase is the phase which the cell prepares itself for division through some important biological processes. What's this biological processes? One of them is the amount of genetic material, اللي هي DNA, duplicates. This is the most important process. The amount of genetic material, اللي هي DNA, duplicates. As you see here, if I have one chromosome before mitosis, then one chromosome after the replication. Yes, the chromosome was one chromatid, then it replicated into 2 chromatids. They have the same genes or the same information, everything the same, okay? It's a sister chromatid. Then after division, each cell takes one of the chromatids, and we will see now in details. Homologous chromosomes, okay? Each one makes its own replicated sister chromatid. Then in mitosis they divide. Let's enter now inside the phases of mitosis. Phase number 1, which is called prophase. Chromatin reticulum intensifies and appears in the form of long, thin and double strings اللي هي الكروموسوم. طيب, as you know that one of the nucleus organelles is called the chromatin reticulum. In the prophase, it intensifies and appears in the form of long, thin and double strings, which are called chromosomes. A network بقى of filamentous fibers called a spindle is composed, extending between the two poles of the cell, as you see here. Yes, this network of filamentous fibers called a spindle start, to extend between the two poles of the cell. At the end of this phase, the nucleolus, which is an organelle inside the nucleus, it disappears, where a nuclear membrane also disappear. Okay, as you see here, the spindle fibers is formed, the nucleolus disappear, and the nuclear membrane disappear. In the animal cell, the spindle fibers is formed from the centrosome. Okay, in the animal cell, the spindle fiber is formed from the centrosome, while in the plant cell, the spindle fiber is composed from the intensifying of the cytoplasm at the cell poles. يبقى في البلانت cell الspindle fiber دي بتحصل من الcytoplasm. Okay. دي phase number 1 which is called the prophase. يبقى phase number 1 اللي هي البروفيز. nucleolus disappear, nuclear membrane disappear, spindle fibers is started to form أو extending between the two poles of the cell, while chromatin reticulum intensifies. طيب, let's talk about phase number 2 اللي هي الميتاphase. In this phase, the chromosomes are arranged along the cell equator, where each chromosome is connected with one of the spindle fibers. As you see here, the chromosomes are arranged along the cell equator, and each one of the chromosomes is connected with one of the spindle fibers. طيب, phase number 3, الanaphase. Centromere of each chromosome splits lengthwise into two halves. Each centromere بقى splits into two halves. Chromatids in each chromosome then separate from each other. الchromatids بقى sister chromatids separates from each other. The spindle fibers begin to shrink, and two identical groups of chromatids are formed. As you see here, yes, two identical groups of chromatids are formed, and the spindle fibers start to shrink. Each group بقى migrates towards one of the cell poles. Each group of the chromosome or chromatids, sister chromatids, yes, migrate toward the cell poles. Type. In the telophase بقى اللي هي last phase, the nuclear threads a nuclear network, and then two new separate cells are formed. Yes, يبقى in a nuclear membrane start to form when nucleolus start to form. Okay, well, two cells بقى start to separate from each other, and two separated cells are formed. Okay, each cell has the same number of chromosomes اللي هي 2n as the parent cell. لأنهم الاتنين has the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. They are a copy of the parent cell. The changes occurring in the telophase are called adverse changes. Why? Because they inverse the changes in the prophase. Yes, they are the opposite of the prophase. Type. What happens if the number of chromosomes in the cell resulted from mitotic division is different from the number of chromosomes in the parent cell? What happens here? The resulted cell will have different properties from the parent cell, which may cause damage to the organism. So this is very important. طيب, as you see here in the summary of mitosis, الinterphase, the cell prepares itself to undergo the division, okay? And the chromatin اللي هي genetic material duplicates, DNA duplicates. While in the early prophase, اللي هي first phase, yes, the chromatin reticulum intensifies. The الnucleolus disappear when nuclear membrane disappear, and then later in the prophase you see the chromatin reticulum into يعني changed into chromosomes, okay, the shape of chromosomes, while the spindle fibers are started to form and extend from one pole to another. Then in the metaphase, the chromosomes are arranged in the equator of the cell, and each chromosome is attached to a spindle fiber. Okay, طيب. Then in the anaphase, what happens? The centromere starts to split into two halves. يبقى two sister chromatids separate from each other. The spindle fiber start to shrink and takes each sister chromatid away from her sister. يبقى يعني forming two groups of sister chromatids at each pole of the cell. يعني كل group of chromatids migrate to a certain pole. In the telophase بقى two cells separate from each other. الcytoplasm بقى separates where nucleolus start to form again, where nuclear membrane starts to form again. Okay, well, two cells are separated from each other into two sister cells. Okay, they are the same as the parent cells, and this is the mitosis division. Let's talk now about application about the mitosis. It's called the liver transplantation. Some cells in the human body are not divided at all, such as the nerve cells or red blood cells, while some cells are not divided in normal condition, but they retain the ability to divide under certain circumstances, such as the liver cells. For example, if the liver gets injured or a part of it is cut, the remaining cells undergo division so as to compensate the missing part. طيب, this is the scientific basis used in liver transplantation. يعني scientists knew that the liver can regain its missing part, so they take part of يعني if someone needs يعني a liver, they can take part from a donor and put it in the patient, and then each one of them will regain the whole liver. Okay, now we finished type 1 of the cell division, which is called the mitosis. We will, inshallah, will talk about type 2 which is the meiosis division in the online session, inshallah, on Wednesday. Okay, see you then. Bye.